Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome back to Stylist Meets Vinyl. My name is Chris. It is January 1st, and that means there is a new vinyl tag for 2024. This year's list comes from Rob Walker over at Let the Music Play, as it has in the last couple of years. What vinyl tag is just a series of questions, usually 20 questions that many channels who are in the vinyl community all answer by showing records. Same questions they answer, and they show records just from their collection. You get an idea of what their collection is all about. You learn a little bit about them, and it's a good way to learn about new channels. And also it's a good way to jump into the vinyl community if you're thinking about making videos. That's how I started. 2 years ago, I made my first video, which was my vinyl tag video. So I'm happy, to get these out as soon as possible, and I knew they were coming. I've been looking forward to it. So here is my 2024 vinyl tag. So the first question is favorite purchase of 2023. Now, my favorite purchase is actually the answer for question 2, which is the last purchase of 2023. The last purchase I did is my favorite purchase, so I'm not going to show the same album twice. I'll show a different album as my favorite purchase of 2023. This is the one that I showed. I did a year-end review, and I showed many albums in my year-end review. So hopefully I'm not being too redundant, but this is my favorite purchase of 2023. Second favorite is Which. Here we go. Which Lazy Bones. This is a Zambian rock album from 1975. The rock band is called Which. This is just kind of a little groovy, a little funky, very garagey, and this was a really nice find. It's a reissue. It's not an original, but they did a really good pressing. This is from Now Again, and they did a really good job with this one. So this is my favorite purchase of 2023. Number 2, the last purchase of 2023. So this one is actually my favorite purchase of 2023. That's my second favorite. This one is Into the Wild, Eddie Vedder. This is an unofficial release, but that doesn't matter to me. It's on a white sort of marble vinyl. This is the soundtrack to the movie from 2007, Eddie Vedder, complete folk album. This is a beautiful, beautiful album. Really, really happy. I didn't think I'd ever be able to find this, and the fact that it's unofficial doesn't bother me. So that was the last purchase of 2023, the last record that I bought. Okay, they released 2 albums in the same year. So there were a few contenders here. I haven't watched any other vinyl tag videos, and I know, there's going to be some go-tos, and this might be one of them, but I chose Black Sabbath 1 and Paranoid 1970. I think this was like February 1970 and this was September 1970. So not a bad run for like between 7 months. Pretty good and pretty legendary albums. So they released 2 albums in the same year. Number 4, if you could only listen to music from one decade. This was a thinker a little bit. I love music from the 60s. I grew up in the 90s. I love a lot of 90s music, but ultimately I had to go with the 70s. I feel like for rock, the 70s, just start to finish, is a really great decade. So you've got albums like, Bridge Over Troubled Water. That's a nice folk album. I've got James Gang Rides Again. That's from 1970. The Allman Brothers, Live at Fillmore East, an amazing live album. I've got Crosby, Stills, Nash & Young, Four-Way Street. I love that one. David Bowie, Ziggy Stardust. This is a perfect album from early 1970, 73, I think. Rainbow, Ronnie James Dio, and then you've got Richie Blackmore from Deep Purple. And then, of course, you've got an album like Boston, self-titled. There's Babe Ruth, First Base in there as well. So that's just a few from 1970 that I really enjoy. So I think I would go with 1970 as my go-to sort of decade if I could only listen to. Next, something from Manchester. I had to have a think on this one as well, and there were a couple of contenders in my collection. Ultimately, I went with this album because I don't think I've shown this album on my channel yet, and this is The Best of the Bee Gees. This came out in 1969, so this is like pre-disco Bee Gees. This is complete folk Bee Gees, a very soft album, poppy a little bit as well. And there's some really good songs on here. My favorite on here is To Love Somebody. Just a perfect song. I love that one. So that is my choice from Manchester. Number 6, which artist you listen to most? This was, I think, an easy one for me. There were 2 that I listened to the most this year. And one of them is Queens of the Stone Age. This is their 2023 release called In Times New Roman. A very good new release from them, but I also listened to a lot of their older albums as well. And then the other band I listened to most this year is ELO, Electric Light Orchestra. This is Out of the Blue from 1977. A perfect double album, very, very nice double album. So these are my 2 choices for artists I listened to most in 2023. Okay, next up is Rob wants us to show 7 7-inch records. Now, I don't collect 7 inches. I don't buy them. I'd much rather have the 12-inch like long play of the album. But I do have a couple 7 inches just from albums that I've purchased that came with 7-inch records. So the first one I've got is Let It Be Naked. This is the Fly on the Wall, just a short 7-inch with a bunch of little excerpts of just some studio chatter and a little bit of like outtakes and stuff. And then the other one I've got is, this is from Matt Mays and El Torpedo, Terminal Romance. It came with this 7-inch in the back with the song Get Lucky and Long Since Gone. So those are 2 7 inches that I have, and I don't have any other ones. So can't fully answer that one to the extent that Rob wants, but you know what? When it's vinyl tag, I think some people, they don't do a vinyl tag video because they're like, oh, I can't answer this question. I remember being that person the year before I got into the vinyl community. But you know what? It's like, just do the best you can, answer as close as you can, and it's not a big deal if you can't completely answer the question. So that was my answer to number 7, which was show 7 7-inches. The next is who is coming to the party. You pick 4 people. You're having a dinner party. Who are you going to invite? They can be dead or alive. Who are you going to invite to your dinner party? This is an interesting question. I quite enjoy. And my choices are, I'm going to invite Jack White from the White Stripes. I think he would have some really interesting dinner conversation. I'm going to invite John Lennon from the Beatles. This is his first solo album from 1970. And oh, sorry, I've got my record bag here. And I would also invite Neil Young. I think he would have some really interesting stories and some interesting opinions. And then I would also invite Jimi Hendrix. You know, we lost him way too soon. I bet you he's got some wild stories as well. And I think that would be a pretty good dinner party. So those are the 4 people that I would invite. Next, we lost them in 2023. There were a couple artists in my collection who we lost. And ultimately I decided to go with Gordon Lightfoot, great Canadian singer-songwriter, one of the best, honestly. A bad loss, but you know what? He was 84 years young, and he had a good run, and he left us with some really beautiful music. So this is my choice for the artists we lost in 2023. Next, number 10, you can only listen to music from one country. Now, I'm here in Canada, and I do love Canadian music, and it was a contender. I really do love a lot of Canadian music, but ultimately, you know what? You got British invasion. You got to go with England, I think, you know. You've got albums like Led Zeppelin. We've got The Zombies, Odyssey and Oracle, Pink Floyd, and of course, The Beatles, you know, and many, many, many others. You know, just some incredible music that has come out of that country. So that is my answer for that one. Now, next, which is number 11, VC discoveries, new channels that you've discovered in 2023. So the 2 that came to mind for me were Steve over at All the World's a Stage. I don't think he started his channel in 2023, but I started watching his channel this past year, and Steve makes a lot of content. He's got a huge collection, and he's a cool guy as well. And I've done a live chat with him before, a live stream, and I enjoy his taste in music, and I enjoy his personality. The other channel that I enjoy is Alex over at Beer and Vinyl. It's a brand new channel, just a few months old now. I feel like I know Alex because he does a live stream with like Glenn Kellaway and Sam St. John and Rob at Northern Revolutions, and he just started appearing on that, and I really appreciated his opinion. He's got a good taste in music, a really cool collection, and he's a knowledgeable guy too. So those two channels, All the World's a Stage and Beer and Vinyl. So those are my choices. Number 12, record I bought as a teenager. I just showed this on my year-end review. This one is the Matthew Good Band, Beautiful at Midnight. This is a Canadian alt-rock album. This came out in 1999. I was 14 years old, and this was a really influential album for me growing up, and this is one that I bought as a teenager. Number 13, a soul or a funk album. There's a funk album that I bought this year that I was going to show, and that's in my 2023 like wrap up best of video, but ultimately I decided to show something that I haven't shown in a little while, and this is Isaac Hayes' Hot Buttered Soul. This is a cool soul album, and I started to get into soul a little bit more this year, and I'll definitely be looking for more funk, more soul to flesh out the collection. So that is my choice for soul or funk. That was number 13. We're on to number 14 now. A record everybody has and one record that nobody has. So the record everybody has, Thriller, Michael Jackson. You know, what more to say? This is the best-selling album in the world. And actually it's funny because the record room right now is in like a state of disrepair. If you could actually see around here, we had some friends over for New Year's Eve, and we were spinning records, and this is one of the ones that we spun just last night. So I wanted to show this one, Thriller. And then a record that nobody has, I'm going with Undercurrent. This is music from the underground, and there's some really cool, it's a compilation album, some really cool artists, and just an individual song from these artists. We've got Paco, Donovan, Redbone, The Hollies, Spirit, Sly and the Family Stone, Catfish, Edgar Winter, Jeff Beck, Shugi Otis, and Argent. So this is a really cool one, and I checked on Discogs, and there are 5 people on Discogs that have this album, and I'm sure there's many others in the world, but as far as Discogs, this is one of the kind of rarest albums that I have. So next we've got She's Great, a female artist you bought in 2023. So I discovered this band in 2023. They're called Frumpy. I showed this on my best of 2023 albums. This is a German prog rock band. This album is from 72, I believe. And just hard Hammond organ. Amazing vocals from Inga Rumpf on this one, and she just has a really great voice, a little bit of a deeper voice as well, but this was a really nice discovery, and I'll be looking for more Frumpy in the future. Okay, next is number 16, a favorite video you made and a favorite video you watched. So I was thinking, favorite video that I made a video, what was it called? The Liner Notes Challenge. And it was like a little vinyl community challenge. And you know, sometimes you put something out and you're not sure if it's gonna catch on or if other people are gonna do it. And I had just 4 questions that were based off of the liner notes. You had to answer the questions. And I thought it was a pretty interesting idea, and I had a handful of people who also jumped onto the tag as well, and I had some comments that they thought it was pretty thought-provoking. So I enjoyed that one. That's probably my favorite video that I did of 2023, and I'll continue to look for other ways that I can make kind of cool videos that way, instead of just sort of, here's a record I bought, here's a record I bought, you know? And then as for other videos from the vinyl community, favorite videos, there was another thread going around, the 10 albums I listened to most. It was a massive thread. A lot of people jumped onto it, and I really enjoyed watching those videos from every YouTube channel. You get a really good idea of what they're all about, 10 records that they listen to the most. I didn't actually end up doing one. I probably should have, but I really enjoyed those ones. And then also, I kind of feel like I should mention, I talk, at least in the beginning of my channel, I talked a lot about Noble Records, Dylan, because he was sort of the reason why I got into the vinyl community. I really liked watching his videos, and then I wanted to start talking about my collection and sharing my collection. And he did a video where it was the Chris Whitson collection, where this man had passed away. I think he was in his early 20s, Chris Whitson, when he passed away in the 90s, and his family kept his collection in like pristine condition all these years, and eventually they ended up selling it to Dylan at Noble Records. And he did a really nice, he really did this guy Chris Whitson justice by sharing his story and really showcasing the collection. And that was one of my favorite videos that I watched of the year. So if you haven't seen that one and that sounds interesting to you, check that one out. And also maybe check out the liner notes challenge that I put out if you want to check another video out. So, and then next, okay, that was number 16. Number 17, 1990s classic. I had a couple choices here, but ultimately I went with this one, which I just picked up and I have been showing lately. But we've got Jagged Little Pill, Alanis Morissette. I called this a Canadian triumph when I showed it. There were about five or six singles off of this one. You Ought to Know, Hand in My Pocket, You Learn, Head Over Feet, and then All I Really Want too. Some really good harmonica on that one. That's the opening track on this one. So that's a 90s classic for me. And number 18, I Could Walk Into the Cover. So the cover of the album, if you could walk into that cover and enter that room or that space or be with those people, what would it be? And I took a look through my collection, pondered this one for a little bit. Ultimately, I ended up going with the Basement Tapes. This is Bob Dylan and the band. Got, you know, Bob Dylan here, the band back here, but then you've got all these other characters as well. And then if you turn it around, you've got like this guy who's like swallowing flame. There's a ballerina in the background, this like belly dancer woman. And it's just a very, very interesting collection of people. I think if I was in the basement of Big Pink and the band and Bob Dylan were jamming out and all these people were in the background just performing, I think that would be a pretty cool party. So that is my choice for a record that I could walk into the cover of. Number 19, Feels Like a Greatest Hits, an album that you know really well, and the songs on it are essentially a greatest hits. I thought for this one, I'm going to go with Supertramp, Crime of the Century. This one does feel like a greatest hits to me. This is an excellent album, and you've got songs on here like School, Bloody Well Right, Hide in Your Shell, Dreamer, Rudy, and then the title track, Crime of the Century, all albums that you would hear on the radio and you'd be pretty familiar with. So this to me feels like a greatest hits video, a greatest hits album. And then the last question, number 20. This album turns 50 in 2024. So an album from 1974. The album that I am going with is called Blue Pine Trees. This is a band called Unicorn. This is from obviously 1974, as we mentioned, and this was produced by David Gilmour from Pink Floyd. He also plays pedal steel guitar on this. This is a folk or country rock, folk rock album. And I found this at a thrift store for $2. It was a really nice discovery. I'll be looking for some more Unicorn in the future. And this is an album that turns 50 this year. So that is it for Vinyl Tag 2024. Let me know in the comments what you think about my answers if you have any of these albums. And also if you want to play along, consider making a video, or just maybe in the comments you can send me your write your answers down as well if you feel like doing it that way as well. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Happy New Year to everybody. Sincere thank you to everyone who has tuned into the channel, and I had a lot of growth this year, and I'm just very pleased with the state of the channel and the interactions that I'm having with people in the comments and all the nice comments. So I thank you guys so much. Whatever you do, guys, make sure you come back here with Where Stylus Meets Vinyl. Thanks. Take it easy. Bye.